Before we begin, I just want to say again, I'm going to be covering a lot of topics that some people may find uncomfortable or disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. For example, videos like this one.
Look, I'm not saying that you should play Ouija at America's Most Haunted Hotel, but I'm also not saying that you shouldn't. I don't know, I'm kind of a Ouija board skeptic. I feel like it's propaganda. I feel like movies have lied to us.
That said, my approach has always been to follow these videos with clips from exorcists, along with the lessons and reminders they share. For those of you who've listened to many priests talk about objects infested with demons, you pretty much already understand how futile this is. They're actually burning this doll, thinking it'll release the spirit that's inside it. The couple burning the doll, they investigate the paranormal, holding seances and trying to communicate with the spirits they believe are inside it. As Father Lampert has pointed out, it's often our own actions that open the door and cause these things to be there in the first place.
Annabelle. I'm opening your case. 3, 2, 1. Speak.
My name's Nick, this is Sarah, gentleman is Lee. He's listening to a radio which is scanning frequencies, and what you can do is you can manipulate what he hears and you can use him to channel and speak to us.
And this woman saying she has a ghost in her house as a best friend. This really reminds me of what Father Rehill shared during one of his Radio Maria shows before.
Nobody believes me when I say I have a ghost in my house and that he's my buddy. I'm pointing to this chair. He doesn't haunt the chair, but let me show you. Let me prove it to you. He really is here. Hey, can you prove to them that you're here for me, please? 1 REM pod, 2 REM pods. Yes. Can you do the... Thank you. How about this one? Yeah, this is my best friend. Yeah.
Because they're spiritual beings which have no body, and they are, for the most part, much more intelligent than we are. You know, there are certain choirs of these that are, you know, I've interacted with some of them, they see dumb as a doorknob, but for the most of them are going to outwit you in any kind of, you know, dialogue back and forth. So we tend to not listen to them. Malachi Martin's book was, you know, basically a documentary of these 4 cases he had, and he put it into a book form. So I would have to trust that what he wrote down is probably pretty accurate according to the way he saw it. But that doesn't mean that's always going to be the case, you know? So when we're dealing with these things, we try to make general predictions based on past experience. It's like the stock market. You know, it seems like these things are happening, so it looks like if we do this, we're going to make this much money in the next month. But then a crash hits and everything goes south, and you weren't predicting that, and you don't know what happened. That can happen too with demons. Like, we think we know how they're operating, but we never know what's in the mind and the heart of the victim, right?
When did you possess Edward?
It doesn't work that way. Can't just possess someone. We need a series of yeses.
So you're saying it's a process?
Of course it's a process.
How does it work?
It's complicated.
Try me. I'm smarter than you think.
Oh, you're smarter than I think. Okay, James. We offer up a series of temptations, gradually increasing in terms of duration and intensity, degree of moral inequity. Absence of baptism in this case allows us to begin work long before the age of reason. At 3, age of 5, maybe a theft of a toy car can do a great deal. Then we move on to bigger and better things. At 8, grandmother's gift of a Ouija board gave us immediate access to his decision-making, so we began steering them without him ever calling into question exactly who was doing the steering. Enough yeses and few enough nos gave us increasing rights over the victim's physical and mental processes. Did that track, James?
It seems random, almost, unfocused.
Well, that's what we want you to think. We have a level of focus beyond your comprehension. As a matter of fact, everybody around him, friends, family, they didn't even notice the changes. It happened so incrementally. They just thought it was Eddie being Eddie. We knew exactly what we were doing, when, where, and how he was giving consent, and the exact moment that we achieved each new degree of control.
Degree?
Control host body comes in degrees. They're stages, each with its own name and characteristics.
And those are?
From top to bottom, extreme temptation, obsession, infestation, finally possession, subjugation.
And Edward Wayne Brady
Fully
is-
subjugated. That's where we're having this conversation. Yes, we own him.
So I can ask the victim questions. Have you ever dabbled in the occult? No, never. And then after like the third exorcism, the mother reveals that, you know, as a baby, the child was satanic ritually abused and nobody told the kid. And now we start to understand more about why these things are afflicting him. But without the information, we wouldn't know, and we wouldn't know how to perceive what's happening to the victim. We had a nun that happened to, who was in a very famous religious order, and she came from Rome to be delivered. It took a year of daily prayer and weekly exorcisms with this woman to finally get the thing out of her, because it had been with her whole life and she was kind of accustomed to it. And what in her subconscious wasn't fully prepared to let it go, because for much of her life, she felt that was her only companion, even though it was something that was harming her. It's a very strange dynamic. As she got older, realized this is more than an imaginary friend, but she didn't know what it was hurting her. And then she asked for help. She did make it into a religious order, you know, even with all the afflictions. So I guess going back to original point is we try to understand as best we can what's happening in the diagnosis. And there's a very long spiritual questionnaire. It's about 8 pages, you know, single spaced, you know, font 12 type of every aspect of the person's life, their mental history, physical history, sexual history, spiritual history, drug addict, all of it. And from that, we try to discern what happened here. And then when did this event start happening in your life? What was happening the week prior to when the first supernatural event occurred? And usually they can pinpoint something. You know, they'll say, well, in some of the most easy cases, it'll be like, you know, a teenager said, well, we played with a Ouija board. We thought it was a game. And then I got home and every night I've had these night terrors and now I feel like killing myself and I'm in despair. Okay, well, we can tie it back to the Ouija board, right? So we can get, if they own the Ouija board, we can bless it and then burn it. And then we do the deliverance over the house and the people there. And hopefully, usually 9 times out of 10, everything's fine. But if we don't know what's going on, especially if there's a cursed object in the home and we don't know what it is, it makes it very difficult. That's a case where you really have to dig deep on what's happening here. Did you pick up any artifacts on any trips you made overseas or to Latin America or South America? Did you bring back lava from Hawaii that you weren't supposed to take? And then a lot of these questions, people go, what does that matter? Well, because that could be the thing that's cursed, it's causing the problems in your home. But if you don't know, it looks random, right? It's just a random thing. We can't figure it out. Guess what the #1 item mailed back to Hawaii from the contiguous states is? Lava. Because they realize their life is falling apart. They want the thing gone, and they research, what do I do? They say, mail it back to Hawaii, and it will be, everything will be back to normal. So that's substantiated evidence.
I came across this video of a Buddhist monk basically explaining his views on demons. And the only reason I brought this up is because we've heard a lot of people who are somehow interested to spend months or years in their monasteries, living like the monks and practicing Buddhism as well. I've done this with yoga before, so I thought I'm going to share it from the source, what they think of demons and how to deal with the demons. Because sometimes some people write in the comments saying that the priests are just assuming and saying things without any basis. Well, listen carefully here. Bear in mind, though, that this isn't in English, so hopefully the subtitle I've provided here, you can read them clearly. Please pause if you think it's too fast.
那当然会有这样的现象，因为你境界越高，在入定做禅定，这魔就来。释迦牟尼佛当时也是啊，他成佛的时候，这些魔君就来了，带着魔女啊，然后射箭，然后这个就千军万马，但是他就不会影响，他以光明现出不同的佛，从心间现不同的佛，所以现不同的佛，五方佛。 那么化身、报身这样哇，遍满十方，所以他无可奈何的，他这剑下来全部变成花，这样调魔。所以西藏有这金刚杵一样，金39金刚杵，他就直接插他的心脏。所以不是让他去死，就直接让你送到净土，所以就把它融化，就变成本尊，变成地藏普贤，所以变观音，不是像一般的宗教。 心不好，很善良，但是就除魔，就让你去死。不是，是把你融化掉，把你变佛。所以你凶没关系，让你去凶。 所以也可以渡阎王，也可以渡魔、渡鬼，怎么样的，你要跟他一起合作嘛，可以做好朋友。那好朋友的时候，他还要欺负你，那又不改善，我就让你好看，就这么简单啊！这不做朋友没办法去渡的，你跟他有隔阂，所以要先广结善缘，要合作，然后再说。各宗教也是这样的。这有几个情况，因为他有神通嘛，你是什么能量他会知道的。他越高的境界，他在比较低层的，他的神通力有限的，他会有时候判断错误的。所以他看到好欺负的，他会去欺负的。所以这个那这样的情况之下，所以你要有力量，他才臣服的。所以有一点好，也很蛮现实的，很现实的要命。
That will be all for the video this time. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. And hopefully all of you have learned a lot from this video. Remember, if there's any feedback or suggestion, please let us know in the comments below. And until the next one, thanks again for watching and may God bless you.